Hello, hello. What's up, people? I am doing room setup again because both of my trackers fell on the floor. Taping them is not good enough. I'll have to bring in some tripods from work. I'm not really encouraged by how much that image is sliding around. Yay! Everyone's having a party. Camera FOV, yeah, it's already should be set to whatever it was set to last time. So I think we just need to angle it. Yeah. So we'll see. It's like No Man's Sky FOV. What, meaning wide? It's supposed to be wide. Let's double check it, but it should be at whatever we set it to last time. What? Yeah. Alright. Alright. It doesn't look wide. It's just because there's nothing in the shot. Like, I'm close to the camera right now. Yeah. Alright, we're going to see if all this equipment still works. And then we'll see if I got any better at this game. And so forth. Oh, it's already being captured correctly. I don't remember what is a good camera position for this game, so we'll just leave it here. I'm going to keep using the room mic for now, because the mic on the headset, well, okay. Let's see if it works. How do we do this? It was inconsistent last time. Testing. Oh, it works. Okay. Okay. Let's see. It's been many days since we did this. See if all this still makes sense. All right. Make sure you stretch before playing, it says. And don't play it first thing in the morning like I am, just having woke up. You may be encouraged to perform intense action. I really want a wider FOV on the headset. Okay, the audio is not coming out of the headset. Hello. Yeah, the wireless module has not yet arrived. I got part of it. I got the part So it's so goofy. Like, they manufactured the wireless module to fit on the original Vive and not the Pro. So you have to get a separate thing that like attaches it to the Pro. So I've got that part of it, but I don't yet have the actual wireless module yet. All right. One Saber. Why would you want to play?
Work it, make it, do it, make sense.
Let's look for new songs, maybe, because is this just everything I've downloaded? No. I don't know if this is sorted in any way. Text is pretty blurry right now. I don't know if I need to clean the lenses or if I need to IPD adjust or what's going on. Where's my IPD? Gotta kind of... Okay, that's worse. I don't know. After some point, it doesn't seem to matter. So I don't know. I don't know where to put these. It's just like everything is blurry. If it's bright because of the distortion on the lenses. I don't know, man. Whoa. Let's see. Yeah, maybe the lenses are just dirty. I don't know. We got to get danger zone, right? That just has to happen. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. We'll download it because it doesn't have easy or normal. It's only got hard, but anything that doesn't have expert plus is fine by me. So is this everything? What am I looking at here? No, there's just more. Okay. Let's get Hotel California. Gotta do that. Gotta get YMCA. That's a necessary. All right, we got that. I just can't do any Star Wars stuff anymore. Can't handle it. Okay. I don't know. All this music that the kids these days listen to. Okay, we got to get that. That's necessary. We got to get I'm on a boat. How did we not search for I'm on a boat? Got to get some Aussie. Why is there so much Star Wars crap on here? I don't remember which song that is, but we'll try it out. I don't know what that is, but I don't know what that is. We'll get a few things that I have no idea what it is, because if you only ever get what you know, that's a little stagnant. Oh, God. Okay, I feel like we've probably got enough new songs. So let me try cleaning the lenses here. See if that helps. Yeah, okay, the lenses do not appear clean. You can look at them. They don't look clean. That's bad news. I beat it? Yeah, I did beat it. What is that sorted by? I don't know. I was just clicking through like all the downloaded songs. Maybe it's the order in which they were uploaded to the thing. I don't know. Okay. This is a little better, blur-wise. Let's try the IPD again. Where is it? Okay, that's worse. I don't know. There's a pretty wide area where it's fine. And then it just gets worse. So I feel like that's just how blurry the headset is. I don't know. Maybe there's an IPD calibration program so we can get the number and figure it out. All right.
Work it, make it,
Newest.
do it, makes us.
We're gonna have to start out slow because I haven't like hardly moved at all. Normal. Hotel Cali. We'll try this. This could be crazy. Could be crazy. Oh, come on. What the hell was that? I had to chop one of those early. This is pretty slow otherwise, though. We'll see what happens when the actual song starts. Ah! My brain isn't doing it. I don't like this. Doesn't feel good. The markup is not correct. Doesn't feel good. All right. Doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good. Let's try this. This is hard. I might not be ready. Oh my God! Come on, bro. Restart. What the fuck was that? How am I supposed to get through that? Oh God. See, you just have to know what's coming. There's not enough time to figure out what it wants to do. Like, you can't see it enough ahead of time. Oh God, no, this is Expert Plus. We're not even gonna do that. Okay, we have to do this because it's a good song, but it's gonna be too hard. Come on. Come on. See, this my brain forgot how to Beat Saber. Just the direction changes are weird. This is so weird. It doesn't. I want a non-expert to warm up. Okay. What song is this? I don't think I like this song. All right.
I've been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I've been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
Okay. Warm up. That's not the song I thought it was. We'll try this. It's going to be too hard. Like my brain doesn't process the symbols that fast. I just don't know what to do. Let's try again. Okay, so first of all, that was all blues. We'll give it one more. There's no way I'm getting through that, but I tried to chop the blues with the red. So from a learning perspective, this game sucks. Like a lot of Guitar Hero type of games, this quick fail, force you to start over, is so bad for trying to get good at a game. Because you just get no traction to try and learn. Okay, we're not going to be able to do this either, but let's give it a try. Like, how am I supposed to know what to do there? I can't see them in time. Yeah, that, I don't know, too hard for my current skill level at this game. We have to stick to normals or hard. Wait, why is... Did it like swap the sort order? What happened? Why is that at the top? It's not recording our scores because I know we passed these.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Open your eyes, look up to the skies.
bombs down there. I didn't see.
I'm just a poor boy. I need no sympathy. 'Cause I'm easy come, easy go. Little high, little low. Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me. Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Mama, life had just begun, but now I've gone and thrown it all away. Mama,
Whoops, wrong one.
didn't mean to make you cry. If I'm not back again this time tomorrow, carry on, nothing really matters. Too late,
Yeah. Fast fail. Not good. Not good. And don't tell me, oh, you can turn off failing or whatever, because that's not the real game. You've got to play the real game that was designed, and if there's some hack or hidden switch to turn off failing, that doesn't count. I almost failed right there. That was very close. I almost failed there. I almost failed right there. What the hell was that? Ah! Let's do some Michael.
They told him, don't you ever come around here. Don't wanna see your face, you better disappear. The fire's in their eyes and their words are really clear. So beat it, just beat it. You better run, you better do what you can. Don't wanna see no blood, don't be a macho man. You wanna
They should make you jump there.
do what you can. So beat it,
I would like that more if I had to jump.
yeah, just beat it.
In fact, I'm gonna jump just to do it.
It doesn't matter who's wrong or right, just beat
Fast! Oh my god, it's too fast. I stepped on the cable there. Frickin' button. See, that's a fun layout. That's a fun level. We'll do this one again.
오빤 강남 스타일 강남 스타일 낮에는 따사로운 인간적인 여자 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자 밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자 그런 반전 있는 여자 너는 선어해 낮에는 너만큼 따사로운 그런 선어해 커피 식기도 전에 원샷 때리는 선어해 밤이 오면 심장이 터져버리는 선어해 그런 선어해 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 그래 바로 너 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 그래 바로 너 지금부터 갈 때까지 가볼까 오빤 강남 스타일 강남 스타일 오빤 강남 스타일 강남 스타일 오빤 강남 스타일 에이 섹시 레이디 오빤 강남 스타일 에이 섹시 레이디 성숙해 보이지만 놀 땐 노는 여자 이때다 싶으면 묶었던 머리 푸는 여자 가렸지만 웬만한 노출보다 야한 여자 그런 감각적인 여자 나는 선어해 점잖아 보이지만 놀 땐 노는 선어해 내가 되면 완전 미쳐버리는 선어해 근육보다 사상이 울퉁불퉁한 선어해 그런 선어해 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 그래 바로 너 아름다워 사랑스러워 그래 너 그래 바로 너 지금부터 갈 때까지 가볼까 오빤 강남 스타일 강남 스타일 오빤 강남 스타일 강남 스타일 오빤 강남 스타일 에이 섹시 레이디 오빤 강남 스타일 에이 섹시 레이디 위는 너그 위에 나는 너 베이베 베이베 나는 뭘 좀 아는 너 위는 너그 위에 나는 너 베이베 베이베 나는 뭘 좀 아는 You know what I'm saying 오빤 강남 스타일 섹시 레이디 오빤 강남 스타일 섹시 레이디 오빤 강남 스타일
Whew. Okay.
I'm getting tired, so we'll see how this goes.
Transmissions will resume. Now try to push drugs to keep us all down and hope that we will never see the truth around. Another promise, another scene, another package like to keep us trapped in greed. And all the green belts wrapped around our minds, and endless red tape to keep the truth confined.
I got pretty good. I was never like one of the absolute best DDR people, but I got pretty good at it. And I eventually stopped because I was like, look, I'm putting more effort into this than the people who made the beat maps for these levels, and that upsets me, right? So, yeah. So DDR, on the one hand, it's only digital buttons, right? So you would think it's less full body, but because it really forces you to move, it's maybe more of a full body game than this. Like, I move around a lot in this game, but that's because it's what I want to do. I could hit a lot of these just by stretching my arms out and not having to move, right? I'm doing this because I'm like a little bit using it as fun exercise. But I think you could hit most things in the game without moving your body, probably. I mean, maybe you get a higher score if you move to hit it like straight on. That's a whole other rant, is the hitting things straight on and as hard as you can is very unmusical and very undancerly. And I wish there were a different scoring system. But so on that note, DDR is actually more full body, but then DDR is less full body because all your attention is just in your feet. And what you do with your upper body doesn't really matter that much, whereas here it's analog. You're much more conscious of your upper body and using your arms and swinging in big arcs and stuff, and that's fun. So I find this more fun than DDR, substantially so. However, if I were to make my own version of the game, it would be pretty different. But it's good because it's helping me see what I like and don't like about the way this genre is going. And if I ever do something here, which there are no plans anytime for years, but someday maybe, I sort of am starting to see what I would do that's different. Would there be any possible fixes for the perspective issue? Who would you even go about fixing that? Okay, here's what I would do. What I'm about to say is very hard, okay? But then, so the next step, I was talking about this last stream, right? So the one way in which this game is exactly like all the DDR games and exactly like Audio Surf and all that is that stuff is coming at you on a track, just like Guitar Hero and whatever, okay? So even though you're in 3D space, and here I'm playing at room scale, right? I'm still playing a track. And that track could widen, and you could get difficulty by like making me do cool jumps and stuff. In fact, that's what I would do if I was like making one of these. I would have an arc of stuff that like starts in the extreme upper left and dives to the extreme lower right and then slides. I would have things where you've got to be acrobatic to win the level, right? But I think it's better, and this is harder, and it takes more effort per beat map, right? And they wouldn't even really be beat maps anymore. I would start providing for a nonlinear space. So there would be stuff behind you and on the sides and everywhere. And, you know, it's all evolving over time, just the way that the track coming straight at you does. But none of it's mandatory, right? So if you didn't hit any of it, you would just end up with a score of 0 and you would be very sad. But if you feel like it's more fruitful to do this part over here behind you right now, and then spin and do that part, and then spin and do that part, then you can intelligently map your way to the best score. It adds like another layer. Like there is that layer in this kind of a game where it's just like, look, if you set your body up in this way, it's a little bit easier to hit these beats, but you always know exactly what you have to do in these games. And it would be good to add a layer that simultaneously, A, involves you developing more of a personal style that's expressive, and then B, has an intelligent mapping and solving portion to it, where you're like, I'm trying to figure out for this song's layout how best to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to open some doors because I'm still sweating. My apartment gets very hot when all this stuff is on, I guess. I think you're underestimating how fast you'll get disoriented if you involve a lot of direction changes to your gameplay. I don't think so. I mean, when I'm playing Space Pirate Trainer, I'm spinning around a lot. When I'm playing I don't know, like the shooting games tend to involve more turning. I think the reason you don't see more turning in more VR games is just that turning is not very good on the lower end VR setups. Like PSVR doesn't track turning hardly at all, and people are probably playing sitting down and all that. But the actual good part of VR is being in a space, and you want people to be able to move freely. Well, it's not the only good part of VR, but it's one of the main parts of VR. And so I think you'll see games, as the hardware becomes more capable, you'll see games migrating in that direction more steadily. You would prefer the Witness VR than an enhanced beat-based game in VR? No, so the thing is, the Witness is not designed for VR. So it could be a puzzle game where certainly where you walk around and solve things. I mean, that's fine, but it's not designed to use the interactivity of VR. So it's never going to be as good for VR as a game that's really designed for VR. So the good version of The Witness in VR is a game that's designed for that peripheral. And I don't know how that would change the game. A lot of it would still be the same, but some of it would definitely be different. Pretty sure you just open the Witness engine, push the VR button, and it's perfect. Oh, we never thought of that. Is the VR button next to the BR button? Can I press both of those at the same time and get Battle Royale Virtual Reality Witness? What kind of chair is this? This is a Herman Miller Embody chair. It is not a gaming chair like you see on Twitch much of the time. But it's a very good chair. I don't know if those gaming chairs are any good, actually. Oh, so yeah, would there be any possible fixes for the perspective issue? There's a lot. So the putting things all around you is one thing that I would do. But even in a game like this, I feel like the beat map controls, either the beat map or the difficulty level controls how far in front of you the blocks appear. Because I feel like earlier in the game, they were appearing further back, which changes the perspective more and gives you more time to see them. But you also could just have them scrolling down from the sky, like way back. So if you were in an easier part and you knew what to do, you could kind of look ahead and see if there were any direction changes coming up and prep yourself for them. That might just make it more confusing to play for some people. I don't know. But you could ignore that information if you didn't want it, you know. Or just having the whole row be on an incline coming toward you, you know, like theater seats. The people behind have a clear view, right? So there's all sorts of things you could do. Yeah, and that's one reason why I'm not that motivated to play this game beyond a certain difficulty level, because all the expert beat maps and Expert Plus are way too video gamey, where like you can't really see anything. And so I'm not sure how you're supposed to know. Like if you play a ton of hours at this game, your brain can probably decode like, oh, I barely see the upper right corner of a left arrow on this coming block, so I know that's a left arrow. But that probably takes a long time to train yourself on, and I'm not interested in that, and that's going to interfere with me playing the part of the game that I'm interested in. So I don't know what to say about that. And then the last thing is that hitting things straight on and as hard as you can is pretty anti-expressive and anti-musical, which is why I don't play that way. You know, like music and dance are about like sometimes I do it a little more and sometimes I do it a little less, and I add a lot of like texture and flow to what's happening. Like it would be cool in this game if there were occasional blocks that you had to hit really hard or you wouldn't score them, right? And then occasional ones that were extra weak, and a lot of them were medium or something like that, you know? I think by default you succeed even if you chip the tiniest corner of a block in the approximate direction, and maybe that's fine. I don't know, right? But like if the game is about being musical, it would be good. And by the way, this is the only reason I'm in a place to have this comment about the game is because it does a better job at being analog and expressive than DDR or Guitar Hero or any of those things, right? So it takes us to the point in design where you can say, okay, now that we're this far, how do we make it more musical and expressive? And it's like, well, analog angles, like forcing you into orthogonal angles all the time is very stilted. And just variability, you know, and allowing people to introduce their own variability. And, you know, again, that's not a diss on the game at all. It's a sign that we've made enough progress in the genre that we could actually start to think about those things. Like way back, you know, I know some of the Guitar Hero developers, and I used to talk to them back in the day about, you know, they were trying to make the game more expressive the whole time, Rock Band also, and just that form never really admitted to it. Like the things that they tried didn't totally work. But I feel like with something like this, where it's already very analog and natural, where you're moving your hands, you have a much better shot at that. Why does the secret ending of The Witness have a locked FOV? Whoever told you that The Witness has a secret ending? I don't know of any secrets in that game, but it's for technical reasons that you could probably figure out if you look at it. Is there a public compiler yet? Nope. I'm going to get back to working on the compiler directly. So we oscillate back and forth between compiler and game, and I've been doing game for a while, but it's about time to hit compiler really hard again. And then at the end of that, we should have a very clear roadmap to closed beta. Yeah, the notes also don't have to come in one behind the other. They have a whole room of space. You could have things slowly shift left and right. That's true as well. The question is, to what degree does that confuse you in terms of hitting stuff? There's funny things that happen, right? So one thing that happens, this will cease to be a problem when there's wireless, but the Vive has this big wired cable, right? And it's either flopping down one side of you or the other. Maybe I should tape it to my back, but then you lose some potential length and might not be able to move as much because it's tethered in a different way. But so sometimes, you know, my controller gets blocked by the cable. And of course, I'm not looking at it. And my brain thinks I'm holding this long saber. So if it's blocked by something, it's probably blocked further out the saber. And so the reaction that you have to trying to like untangle the thing from the cable is inappropriate because the cable's really like in this close because the hand thing is really small, but you think it's probably like further out. It's just funny. You know, I mean, that's nothing to do with any particular game. As someone that didn't play this game, I think that one of the issues is that you can't really apply what you learn in lower difficulty to higher ones, i.e. same chording for same beat music patterns. It seems it relies only on memorizing the patterns for every song. I don't really know. Like I said, I'm a little bit turned off by Expert and Expert Plus difficulty. I think because of what you're saying, because it's not really about movement anymore. It's about like knowing what's going to come up. I mean, maybe, you know, we were rating that one Expert Plus guy, and my impression was maybe he has a different opinion of it, and your brain just knows what to do at that speed. But again, that's a very tweaky skill that's not that interesting or universally applicable. Whereas moving and flowing and having fun doing that is much more universal and interesting. So, you know, I would prefer if the game got harder in that direction versus the same, like, if it gets hard by doing the same thing that Dance Dance Revolution does and the same thing that Guitar Hero does, then it's just becoming the same as those games at higher levels. You know what I mean? Whereas if you get hard by doing something different than those games do, then you're getting hard in a unique way. I think that's the most important thing. Like when we watch the Expert Plus players play, it looks just like hard DDR or hard Guitar Hero. And I don't like that. But, you know, probably most people who play this game don't ever play it on that level, right? Like, They might play up to hard. Like if people play it at a party, I don't know how well VR headsets are conducive to parties at all, but this game has a party mode, so maybe some people play it. You know, it's probably there are many people new to the game, so they don't play it on those difficulty levels. And yeah, I think it's a different game at lower levels than higher levels. And I like the lower level game more. I want the harder version of the current lower level game. You think there should be a VR sample game that suspiciously satisfies all the game ideas? I've thought about it, but the problem is when you're doing new game design, to do it well is hard because it's a thing that nobody's done before, and that takes a lot of effort, and I just am doing too many other things right now to do that. I've thought about it though, but no. What if you had a function of kinetic energy over time, which derives somehow from the music, and the intensity of the visuals comes from that, and how close the player is to matching it with your movement? You could do that, for sure. The thing is, you don't want to be too much in the business of the computer parsing the music and then judging you on that. Because first of all, computers are not that good at that. Maybe with modern neural network stuff, they'll get a little bit better, but they've historically not been good at that. And then secondly, you want to actually, if it's a game about moving to the music, you want to let people make their own choice about how they're going to do that, in my opinion. You found it interesting that Guitar Hero always worked better for you than Rocksmith, as someone who plays guitar. I actually never played Rocksmith, so I can't have an opinion on that, unfortunately. I thought Rocksmith was a cool idea. The idea of that game was it was actually gonna, to some degree, help you learn an actual instrument while playing the game. But I never tried the actual game. Is there a specific reason The Witness had a reset button in the pause menu? It doesn't have a reset button in the pause menu. I don't understand. I don't understand what you mean. For Beat Saber, I think the key reason it's different from classic rhythm games is that there's a wealth of analog input data to the game rather than just binary inputs. Yeah, totally. I think that's what makes this game more fun. So like I said, even though I disagree with some things the game does, I think it's more fun for me than any of the other beat matching games. And the question, you know, as we go forward into the future of design of these kind of games is how can you do more with that analog input data, right? Because this design, the design of this game is very clearly in the lineage of Guitar Freaks, Guitar Hero, Rock Band, Dance Dance Revolution, right? And that's good. I mean, that's totally fine, right? But at some point, like you could imagine that if you went back in time and there never was a Guitar Freaks arcade game, and you just gave somebody this VR hardware, room scale, and said, hey, make a game about music with this, you might end up with something really different, right? And that's not the way history went. So the question is, if you were to make history go that way now, what would you end up with if you weren't as much? I mean, it's fine to be influenced by those other games, but you got to remember those games were designed to use digital buttons, right? Or I think Guitar Freaks actually had an analog like stick, but the later games didn't. I never played Guitar Freaks arcade, so I don't remember, but like I think that game had analog, but everybody ditched analog after that. Because it was the part of that design that wasn't working very well. But here it works very well because it's different analog. So I don't know. I'm rambling a little bit at this point. Wired is definitely a thing holding back the movement. Potentially, you can't make the player spin more than 270 degrees. Well, you could have them spin and then spin back or something, or just let them be free to turn wherever they want, and then they're up to their choice of their own cable management. But I don't think it'll be that big of a problem for much longer. Like I said, there's already a wireless kit for the Vive. I don't know how much battery life it has, but we'll find out when I get it. And then, you know, Oculus's kit next year is going to be wireless. And I think after that, wireless is going to be the standard. I don't think anybody really wants wired VR headsets. So very quickly, that problem will go away. Cable carrier on the ceiling, yeah, along with an extra long cable at that point. My phone is ringing. I'm getting a call from India. I wonder if I should answer it or if it's a spammer. You're also turned off by most expert songs, but there are occasional expert beat maps that build up through pattern repetition and slowly increasing complexity, making it possible to clear them on the first attempt. I would be interested in hearing about those. My play session for today is going to be done because I have to go to the airport, but you know, maybe next time, or if somebody wants to post somewhere a list of recommendations of expert and expert plus songs that are actually learnable, I wouldn't mind trying those out. Part of the weirdness is the songs too, like how do you make a slow song hard? Well, you can, it's just different. Like there's a lot of nuance in notes in music. There's shape to them, and you could have something that's about following that shape very carefully. Like these, the tracking on these is really good these days. They're pretty precise. I mean, I think they're maybe not as precise as it feels because they're heavily filtered to knock out jitter or something, but still, it feels pretty good. Like what you see in the game feels pretty good with regard to tracking your actual movements. So you could have a thing where you were trying to follow a precise, like curved shape or something, and it would work well. And it would give you more of a variety of stuff to do, right? Instead of just hitting all these notes, imagine you were hitting some notes and then it was like, curve, follow the curve, hit really hard, curve, right? It would be fun. And like later DDR games started doing something a little bit like that, right? There were things where you step on and then lift that foot off way later or whatever. But there's only a little bit that you can do in that with a digital buttons. But in a game like this, there's a lot that you could do. But also, yeah, so someone's saying, why does it have to be hard? If you make slow songs fun, faster songs are just harder if you make the movement naturally. So I agree with that too. So okay. So early during the stream, I said about one or two of the beat maps, like this is too video gamey, right? And part of what I mean by that, like obviously I like video games, I make video games, but part of what I mean by that is that historically, video games know how to be interesting in two different ways. One is by getting hard and forcing you to master the hardness, and the other one is by pretending they're a TV show or a movie and giving you plot that you want to play for. And that's most of what video games know how to do. There are occasional exceptions. So one of the things in The Witness when I was designing that I was trying to do was to have a different way of being interesting than being hard or having story, right? So, but you know, music is already pretty interesting by itself. And then once you're moving to music, that's pretty interesting. And so I think there's a very rich field for exploration of what's interesting about moving to music with these peripherals that track your motion. And I don't think it has to only be difficulty, right? Difficulty can be one ingredient that you have to play with that comes in and out. But a lot of people have other interests, right? Or everybody has multiple interests, right? So except for the most obsessive people, you might interest people more if you have potential difficulty and something else like style development or something together rather than just one of those, you know? So it's an interesting design space. I look forward to seeing how it evolves over time. Colto Pixel says he thinks only sitting VR games will be mainstream. You have many examples like Kinect or DDR. If a game is physically demanding, it will have a smaller audience. Maybe. I don't think that standing is very physically demanding. If you're healthy. I mean, Americans are very unhealthy, so that's problem number one. But, you know, if you're supposed to do a certain amount of exercise a day to be healthy, and you can get that by playing a VR game and just like walking around in your little room, a lot of people would prefer that to like going running on a treadmill or something because they're having fun. I don't know. Like being a healthy person is pretty important. Seems like I might like Dance Rush. Watching high-level players seems like they're actually trying to dance as opposed to say DDR. Oh yeah, I totally like that kind of thing better. But, you know, it would be better if that's what the game was about, you know? AudioSurf had computer-generated courses. It was one of the early indie games that did well. Yeah, I didn't like the computer-generated levels on that game. I think, again, I mean, this is not to take anything away from AudioSurf, but in those early days, there wasn't a lot of competition. You know, if it had to compete with 5 or 6 other rhythm games like you would have today, and it was insisting on computer-generated levels and everybody else had hand-generated levels, I think the hand-generated levels would easily win. It's just the nature of how they are. They're more fun. Do I invest in Bitcoin? No. Yeah, analog is also generally more expensive. That's true. If you've already bought into fully tracked controllers for a VR setup, the input quality is already set to a relatively high minimum. That is true. It's also still true that it's expensive. Like a Vive, you know, with all the ingredients and then with a wireless pack, it's probably like, I don't know, it's like $800 or $900, right? I don't remember the exact price. That's not cheap. You have to really want to play VR games to buy that. But of course, that's one of the things that gets solved over time, right? Like in 2 years, you'll be able to buy something for less than half that price that's better than the Vive, right? That's just the nature of technological advancement. So even though that's a problem right now, or it's not even a problem because it's the natural course of technology, right? It's just, it restricts the audience to a much smaller number of people than you might otherwise have. But that'll naturally go away over time. Can they actually stream 1080p 60 FPS wireless? I don't know. I think there's a compressor in there, and I hope it doesn't add much latency. I'm not sure. The song's by Benny DeBeast. I'll write that down. I'm about to go away for a week, so I won't be playing this game again. But hopefully I can search for that dude's name. You just got a Rift set up, and on your first day, you can almost beat that Angel song on Expert. That's good. It's good development. Oh, he's been hired by the Beat Saber devs to make future built-in songs. That's good. Because, yeah, like I was saying, the funness of the game depends very heavily on which beat maps you're playing. And so getting the people to make the really good ones, that's important. Currently working on a Mega Man style game and cutting out all arcade gamey stuff, game overs, lives, etc. It still feels fun and is way less frustrating. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I could see that. 900 with DAS. I don't remember what that is, but is that the wireless? Yeah, and you need a PC on top of that Vive, right? So it's not cheap right now, but it'll get cheap. You know, it used to be that the only when Valve was developing these, I got invited over there to try them out before the public knew about them, and to drive them, you needed a $5,000 PC to even have a prayer of hitting the top frame rate, of which I think was 100 at the time or something. Maybe it was 90. Whereas now you still need a PC, but you can do it with like a $2,000 PC is pretty good, or maybe even a $1,000 if it's not a graphically demanding game. So already the prices have come down pretty well. Where am I going? I'm going to LA for a few days. When we have the first release, I don't know. I'm working on it. We're going to have it as soon as we can. But it's important to do it right. We just don't want to rush something out. As always, that's the story. The beefy GPU is very important and often overlooked. Yeah. So the thing about the VR headsets that I think people don't understand is there's a very unfortunate situation where the resolution of, but because of the way the optics work, and because we don't have this kind of eye-tracking foveated rendering yet, the resolution of how good things look, where your eyes are looking directly, depends on the resolution of the panel. And right now, with the kind of naive 3D rendering that we use for other games, just means that we render that many pixels to everywhere. So if you want to have a 4K, if you need a 4K display to get the pixels to be small enough that they're not like ugly and chunky or whatever, then you end up with like 2 4K displays, one for each eye, that you're rendering all the time. And that's kind of bananas. I don't think anyone's at 4K yet. I think, didn't Oculus announce they're going to be 1440p per eye or something? But that's still a lot of pixels if you're rendering that twice per frame for everybody. Like gamers who play stuff like PUBG or Call of Duty or something on a high-end PC, they'll play at 1080p or below because they'd rather have the frame rate. And that's where you don't get sick if you drop frames. So, but yeah, all of this stuff will just get better over time, relatively quickly. You'll be surprised by how quickly things get better. You think there was some 4K Chinese headset? Yeah, I saw that. People were saying it's not any good though. I don't know. I don't know about it. Pimax, is that the maker of that? Yeah, and so VR games using minimalistic graphics, on the one hand, it does remove performance concerns, and on the other hand, you don't need graphics as much to feel immersed in a VR game, I don't think. So I think it's the right choice to dial down the graphics, And and that's one reason. So aside from the interactivity not being designed for VR in a game like The Witness, another reason it's not good for VR is just that the game requires, for example, us to render correct reflections in surfaces like water. And to do that essentially requires rendering the scene in extra time. And so whatever frame rate you would have on a game with totally accurate reflections, in The Witness, it's not quite half of that, but it's like half of that frame rate. So, if we were designing the game for VR, we wouldn't have had any water in it, but so much of the game depends on water. It's just how it is. What about foveated rendering? Well, it just lets you render many fewer pixels. We'll see if that catches on. I have some reservations about it because I don't necessarily trust that the eye tracking is going to be good enough. And it really scares me because like PC manufacturers seem to have very low standards about human interaction now. Like I just bought this laptop that seemed to be the only one in the world anymore that had acceptable human factors to me, like trackpad buttons and stuff. And I can't, so it's got this thing where if you type, it turns off the trackpad for like 0.4 seconds. So if you type and then try to move the trackpad immediately after, like you type enter in a dialog box and you try to move off that to something else, you can't do it. It's super frustrating, and there appears to be no way in Windows anymore to turn that option off. I tried turning it off in the registry, I can't do it. So like people are making stupid decisions, or at least decisions that make things feel horrible to proficient users, right? And that those and they think it's so unimportant that they won't even provide a proficient user with a way of turning off the stupid training wheels anymore, right? It's so frustrating that I'm ready to stop buying laptops and just work from desktop machines now. They're just unacceptable. I don't know what to do. But like, that is the kind of attitude that these people have. And so if they're designing the eye tracking, I don't trust that the eye tracking is going to respond fast enough that I'm going to see, I feel like I'm going to look and see something blurry and then it'll focus in and they'll be like, oh, it's fine. So I don't trust it, but if it actually works, then that's great. Did I try the Lenovo trackpad utility? No, I've tried the Synaptics trackpad settings in Windows, which are very minimal. So I'll try that. I'll try the Lenovo trackpad utility. Maybe I have to download it. So here's the thing, is that for foveated rendering to work, it's not just that the eye tracking has to be fast, but the game has to know what to render. So you have to have a round trip from the headset to the game, to rendering the frame, to however many frames of latency there are between the game and the display. So you have to, when you think of the latency budget, you have to subtract the normal rendering pipeline latency from your budget that you're allowed to give to the eye tracker. So it's very stringent. You basically have to predict where the eye is going to go before it goes there, which may or may not really be possible with sufficient quality levels. If Carmack is working on eye tracking, he will make sure it works. Maybe. The Carmack of the 1990s and early 2000s, definitely. But like, you know, when he started doing Rage with megatexture, he designed a system where the textures would invariably be blurry to begin with and then render in. And he was like, well, maybe hopefully people won't notice that. And you ended up noticing it quite clearly. So I don't know if that's still his attitude about things. We'll see, right? I mean, I think he was just, maybe in his mind that was a stopgap thing to get the first version of the technology working, and then in later days, you know, you would eliminate that with a pre-pass or something. That's possible. But it seems very different from the Carmack of the Quake days, where, so John Carmack was one of the first people, maybe the first person, to ship sub-pixel accurate texture mapping, or triangulation even, on PC games, because it helped the environment feel that much more solid, right? Competition of the time was games like the original Tomb Raider, which like rendered wobbly textures everywhere, but Quake was super solid, and that changed somewhere between Quake and Rage. So, but hopefully he goes back to that standard when it comes to eye tracking. We'll see. Have I seen his Oculus Connect keynotes? Not super. The thing is, I'm not that interested in mobile VR. I'm interested in high-end VR, and he's like working on how do you make mobile VR good, which is fine, but and it's more like addressing a bigger market segment right now. But I would rather think about how to make high-end VR good. All right, let's see. Somebody said Lenovo trackpad. Well, if I type Lenovo trackpad, there's not anything. Maybe it doesn't come installed anymore. There's a Lenovo pen settings. And that doesn't look very good. Lenovo trackpad utility. There's one for Windows 7. I don't think they ship this anymore. Certainly this laptop is not listed as supported. Am I working on another game besides Sokoban? Yes. Any information about it? No. Will I ever work on VR tech? I don't know. You think they did fix that by prefetching stuff in the new Doom while still using Megatexture? Yeah, maybe. Definitely in the first new Doom, you could still see it happen, but it was a lot subtler than in Rage. Maybe that's just because computers are faster, or maybe they did some stuff to make it better. Maybe the low map level was higher. That could be what was happening. So you just had more MIPS of any texture paged in at any time. But yeah, by making sure you prefetch, you can solve it. But it was weird at the time that he didn't seem that concerned about that problem. Beyond foveated rendering, you're looking forward to even more weird tricks, such as flashing single frame dots to trigger involuntary saccades that let the game slightly rotate the camera without being noticed. Like steering people away from walls. I don't know. That sounds like it might be disorienting. I guess we'll see. Like if it's viable, people will do it. You swear you've seen a trackpad setting that said something about the keyboard. I'll look. But yeah, it seems like a lot of things have been stripped away in the latest version of Windows, which on the one hand, I think Windows needs to be simplified very much. They've made a giant mess out of it and they need to simplify it. But you don't simplify by removing things that people need. You have to make good choices there, right? So it's infuriating that I can't move the trackpad when I want to. Like, why is that a thing? So it's so bad. Will you get Sokoban as a free game or a commercial product? It is a commercial product. But that's part of how we're ensuring that the language is good, because the language has to be good enough to build and ship a commercial product. What do I think of the checkerboard style fade in that has become a trend for distant objects? Do you mean like alpha test or something? Like, I think any kind of fade in that you can see is unfortunate and we should try to get rid of it. No registry shenanigans for the trackpad. I tried one and it didn't work. Maybe I could try other ones. Opinion on mesh shaders. I don't understand why we have them. But maybe they'll work better than geometry shaders did. I don't know. Turns out there are 2 synaptic settings windows. How do you get to the other one? What about Linux for my daily driver? I will use Linux if I can develop games on it effectively, which I currently can't. So if that ever changes, I will be happy to switch over. You simplify stuff by adding advanced options inside of advanced options, just not to fill windows with actual options. Yeah. Instead of just fading, you just take every X pixel checkerboard style of the higher MIP to render fewer pixels in total. Oh, like people do that for visible objects to make them faster to render? I don't like that. Yeah, I don't. That doesn't sound good to me. Just if you don't have enough resolution, or if you don't have enough speed to render all your pixels, you should probably be rendering at a lower resolution. Like the whole checkerboard pretend we're 4K when we're not thing, I am not a fan of. When is there going to be a compiler stream? I don't know. Hopefully soon. I meant to do one this week and we haven't done one yet. Maybe when I'm on this trip. I don't know. Will we have pre-PR post typer macro? I can't parse that sentence. I don't know. Anyway, I gotta go. I'm going to the airport. So thanks everybody for stopping by and having a Beat Saber session and then a random chatting session. And I won't be doing any VR games till next weekend probably, but you never know, there might be a surprise stream. So I'll see you all next time. I guess let's maybe do a raid on a Beat Saber player. If there are any, there probably are, right? Let's see. Spooky dancing, Halloween themed. I don't know how to know who to... See, when we go raid programming, we know who to raid, but... let's see the Halloween theme, spooky dancing. Okay, I don't like the fake avatar. I don't like that. We got to do someone who has a camera set up. Is there nobody brave enough to have an actual camera? If not, we don't raid anybody. Wait, is this a camera? Yeah, okay. See, he's not moving his body very much. Which I think it's better if you do. I think maps should encourage that. But, you know. Okay, so that's one person that we can raid. Here's maybe another one. Yeah, see, this guy's moving a little more. All right, we'll raid this dude. Have fun, everybody, and I'll see you later. I'm waiting until it says everybody is ready to raid.